We brought together a group of teenagers from Florida, Virginia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania to discuss gun violence. But the conversation quickly veered into a heated debate on the connection of guns and race.
Race affects the way that people live, they eat, where they go to school, and all of this is there are factors in violence and inner city violence. With those students who were at the march, we're talking about from Baltimore, from Chicago. Until we want to talk about the root causes, the conversation will never be complete, and we won't get to the bottom of it.
Chicago and Baltimore, to my recollection, have some of the strictest gun laws in the country.
But don't you think the guns come in from the surrounding Indiana, from the surrounding states?
They have relaxed gun laws. That's how they're able to get
and now the left also wants open borders, and this will allow illegal guns to flood into the country.
Wait a minute, but do you think that guns come in from Indiana, as police say they do in Illinois?
I don't know where they're coming from.
I think it's a problem that you say you don't know where they're coming from. We should know where these guns are coming from.
Do you know exactly where they're coming from? Why don't you want to have good guys with guns to protect you from criminals that are getting their weapons illegally?
Who is carrying out these mass shootings?
Okay,
young white men. And
now you're a racist. Why are you attacking white people?
That's the statistic.
It's just the
fact.
What about Omar Mateen, though?
Okay.
It's race.
There are exceptions to the rule, but school shooters generally are young white men.
Yes.
Okay, and they're also pumped up on meds, too.
We cannot solely just say that it's mental illness. We're arming hate in our country. If we had more armed guards in our school, again, it would perpetuate the school-to-prison pipeline. We have to be cognizant.
And how would it do that? Just help me understand the logic.
Because,
if you're treated like a criminal, you're going to act like a criminal.
Exactly. And this mindset, the way that we are socialized in schools as being seen as criminals, as being black bodies, then that is going to contribute to your way of life.
I'm not white, I'm not black, but I am a person of color. And I don't feel comfortable. I'm walking around and I'm looking at these cops and I'm like, do they think I'm up to something because of the color of my skin? And that's how all of my friends that are black in my school feel. And I don't receive the same airtime as some of my friends, and it is because I'm not white.
We shouldn't use white privilege as a dirty word. It is what it is. White privilege comes out in structural racism.
You're racist.
Jacob, why can't they talk about their experience?
Well,
because we're not allowed to.
I don't. Why are you guys attacking white people so much?
We're not attacking white people. Affected by a system that we built.
We're talking
systemic
about
racism that white people implemented into this country.
Anyone can be racist.
Affected
anyone cannot like someone because.
Let me say something. When you have 20% of a population, the entire United States population, committing 50% of the homicides, that's not just you're the victims. That's also your part of the issue. When you have 20% of a race committing 50% of the violent crimes, that's no longer okay, well, now I'm being affected. That's also playing into culture.
You just proved my point. Structural racism is this vertical violence that affects the violence that we see in urban cities, that disproportionately affects women of color, transgender people of color, and people of color in general.
It's not color. It's all about culture. It's not color.
Students of color who are already at risk and who are already
Race doesn't play a factor.
It does.
No, it does.
It does.
No, it
and people who are already at risk for the school-to-prison pipeline.
It's not a race card. You wouldn't understand because you're Caucasian.
How do you know the race doesn't play a factor? What do you mean?
Because it doesn't. Aren't everyone equal?
Speaking from a black person's perspective.
But do you think, you don't think that black kids in some of these pockets where there's a tremendous amount of violence are more at risk?
I think we should stop playing this racial politics and get to the issue of trying to protect children in schools and to stop gun grabbing.
Well, this is not only a school issue.
These are tactics. No, you guys are using tactics like race and things of that sort to try to grab guns from people that rightfully can own them.
But who's saying grab guns?
We're not trying to get rid of guns. We just wanted to make it harder for someone that's going to shoot up a school to get a gun.
Has what's happened in Parkland and these recent gun shootings changed the trajectory of your futures? Anybody?
I think when the Parkland bubble popped, we became more aware of everything, and we realized all the corruption in our system. And if the politicians in place now aren't going to fix them, it's our job to fix them.
Yeah, it shouldn't take 17 people to be killed. Every single innocent life lost should be shown on the news, should be on the front page. And I agree with what you're saying. And at the march, there were so many students of color that came out of the woodwork and said, my brother was shot, my sister shot, my family members and friends shot. And that shouldn't just be swept under the rug. We should show that all of these innocent lives are being taken for no reason.
And after we show it, we need to take action and have sustained dialogue, not just give them their 3 minutes on stage and rally around them and then let them go viral and then not go back to their cities and try to help them change things.
One word of how you're feeling now. However you're feeling now after this weekend and where we are today. Go ahead, Sarah.
Energized.
Not safe.
Ready.
Difficult.
Optimistic.
I'd say hopeful, and hopeful that, you know, the future is safer and we can deal with these people accordingly that want to terrorize us.